This is The Other Side. My name is Rimamnde Shawulu. Today we are going to talk about the tragedy of Mokwa, the tragedy that affects Nigeria, the tragedy that has become a yearly ritual. People get killed by floods and government officials and everybody comes out to talk. People raise assistance, politicians visit, and then people forget. The next year, the same thing happens. Just take a look at some of the things that have happened in Mokwa. Many of the stories are what you cannot wish even for the worst of your enemy. Imagine a family, a father or a mother or a child looking at water take away your beloved, and there's nothing that you can do about it. All that you hear will be sympathy visits, high-profile sympathy visits by governors, by top politicians, by people from the presidency. You hear stories about assistance that have been given, and then that is the end of the matter. You wait again next year to see what will happen. Sometimes people are told that it is their problem, they are at fault, they are the reason why these floods happen. They are told that they have built their homes on water paths and that they need to leave the places where they are living, as if they actually have a choice. Of course, some people have a choice, especially in the urban centers or planned areas like Abuja, where people deliberately build on flood-prone areas. But for most Nigerians, they don't even have control over where they live. And of course, water comes and takes them away. Not just 1 year, but every year. Let's take a look at some of the statistics that we have. From 1999 to date, there has been no year that we've not had a flood disaster. The most serious of them were in 2004 when 25 people died. We had another one, major one, in 2012. In 2012, we had over 30 states affected and 363 deaths were officially recorded. And then if you follow up, if 3 years ago, we had another severe storm, severe problem. We had a situation where 33 states were affected and damages worth 9 billion naira were said to have occurred and 600 deaths were recorded. 2.5 million people were said to have been displaced. From 1999, there is no year that we've not had flood. Sometimes it affects a few states, sometimes most of the states, and there it goes. We'll go through the rituals again, and the following year, the same thing happens. Of course, the most prone areas are the Niger Delta. You have states like Lagos, Kogi, Anambra, Bayelsa, and the causes. You always hear rainfall, poor drainages, and in some case, like the case that we had some years ago, they fear that we're going to have some flood or that Cameroon had released too much water from the Lagdo Dam. It is known. Everybody knows that if the water is too much from Cameroon, the Cameroonian authorities, to save their citizens and to stop the dam from being collapsed, will release the water. And where will the water go? It will come to Nigeria. We know that each year, and yet those same things happen. And how about the deaths? The number of people that have died. If you look at the statistics again, from 1999, heart-wrenching. You have from 1999, states that affected were Niger, Delta, Lagos, and Ogun. 50 people were said to have died, and the deaths were mainly due to heavy rains. They were talking the following year, we had the same type of thing. They said over 40 people died. States affected were Kano, Jigawa, Sokoto, and again, they said there was water flow from the river. And this happened in 2001, happened up to each year. From that time to last year, we had the same thing happening with people dying every year. What do we say about these things? They say someone who does the same thing the same way and is expecting a different result has a problem with himself. But that is not just about flood. The funny thing is that when you talk about development, when you talk about development, the major thing you are talking about is the ability of the human being to dominate his environment. We have people living in areas that have more water than Nigeria, and they don't record the number of people that die in Nigeria every year. We have the fact that other countries in the world are facing so much disaster. Some have earthquakes, some have tsunamis that we don't have, some have volcanoes, eruptions that we don't have. They don't record the number of deaths and devastation that we record in Nigeria. What is the problem? Where are we this way? Where are we unable to tame the only natural disaster that yearly affects Nigeria? I think it's time that not just the leaders, but all of us wake up to consider, where are we unable to look at these things straight and develop solutions? Of course, the solutions are with the local governments, the solutions are with the state governments, the solutions are with the federal government, and the solutions are with us, members of the public. But it's a choice. We can choose to sacrifice some people every year, which is why we have chosen to water. We can choose to stop water from harassing the public so that people will live their lives. What do you think about these problems that we have? As you have seen on the screen, there is no year that since 1999 that we don't have floods that kills at least 40 to 50 people officially. Perhaps the numbers of people actually killed may be much higher than what we get to hear from the news or from official declarations of government. Where are we unable to tame this problem? The only one problem, natural disaster, affects Nigeria. What if we had an earthquake? What if we had a volcano eruption? What if we had a tsunami? What if we had the type of wildfires that destroyed California? What are we going to do?